Today I want to talk about a shocking and tragic event that happened in Ecuador yesterday. A presidential candidate who was campaigning against corruption and crime was assassinated at a rally in the capital city of Quito. His name was Fernando Villavicencio, and he was one of the 8 candidates running for the first round of the election, which is scheduled for later this month. Who was Fernando Villavicencio and why was he killed? Villavicencio was a former journalist and a member of the National Assembly. He was known for his investigative reporting and his anti-corruption activism. He had exposed several scandals involving government officials and oil companies. And he had also denounced the links between organized crime and some politicians. He had received death threats from criminal gangs, especially from Los Choneros, the largest and most powerful gang in Ecuador. Los Choneros is a breakaway faction of the Sinaloa cartel, which is based in Mexico and is one of the most notorious drug trafficking organizations in the world. Los Choneros controls most of the cocaine production and smuggling in Ecuador, which has become a major transit point for drugs destined for the US and Europe. Los Choneros has also been involved in a series of violent prison riots, in which hundreds of inmates have been killed in brutal clashes. Villavicencio had promised to crack down on Los Choneros and other gangs if he became president. He had also proposed to reform the judicial system, the police force, and the prison system, which he said were corrupted and infiltrated by criminals. He had also vowed to fight poverty, inequality, and unemployment, which he said were the root causes of crime and violence in Ecuador. Villavicencio was not the frontrunner in the polls, but he had a loyal base of supporters who admired his courage and honesty. He was also gaining popularity among young people, who saw him as a fresh and alternative voice in Ecuadorian politics. He was campaigning on a platform of change and hope, and he had a slogan that said, "Ecuador deserves better." How did Villavicencio die? Villavicencio was shot as he left a rally in Quito on Wednesday afternoon. He was surrounded by his supporters, who were cheering and chanting his name. Suddenly, 2 gunmen on a motorcycle approached him and opened fire. Villavicencio was hit several times in the chest and head, and he died instantly. The attackers fled the scene, leaving behind a scene of chaos and horror. The president of Ecuador, Guillermo Lasso, confirmed the assassination and condemned it as a cowardly act of terrorism. He declared 3 days of national mourning, and called for an urgent meeting. He also ordered an investigation into the murder, and promised to bring the perpetrators to justice. Who claimed responsibility for the assassination? A few hours after the killing, a video emerged online, in which a criminal gang called Los Lobos claimed responsibility for the assassination. Los Lobos is the second largest gang in Ecuador, with about 8,000 members. It is a rival faction of Los Choneros, and it is also affiliated with the Jalisco New Generation cartel, another Mexican drug cartel that is competing with the Sinaloa cartel for control of the drug market. What does this assassination mean for Ecuador? The assassination of Villavicencio has shocked and saddened many Ecuadorians, who have expressed their outrage and grief on social media. However, some analysts have warned that this assassination could have serious consequences for Ecuador's stability and democracy. They say that this killing shows how powerful and dangerous the criminal gangs have become in Ecuador, and how weak and vulnerable the state institutions are. They say that this killing could also trigger more violence and polarization among political factions, especially as the election approaches.